while a wedding is ultimately a completely private relationship, we require that it be done in front of the community. We require Rabbi's presence. Secondly, while a wedding is the ultimately emotional act, we continually sign contracts. So we've already signed the RCA prenup agreement. We're signing the time now, and in a few minutes we'll be signing the ketubah. So why is it that halakha enshrines a private emotional moment and ritualizes it as a public contract signing? The first question is that we want to make sure that while the Chatan and Kala are forming a private community, they form that private community in the context of Klal Yisrael, as opposed to as a selfish community. Right? And as they get married and as they join with each other in a way in which they will not join with anybody else, they build an essentially private relationship. We want them to do that in the context of a community and to see their relationship as being there to build a bayis neman b'Yisrael. Right, to build a small community within the larger community and not a separatist community. The second question is a little bit more complicated. Why is it that we embody emotions in law? So I want to say here that I think halakha has a tremendous idea to contribute that is too often forgotten. Almost everybody will commit to almost anything in the heat of passion, in the moment. Shaul talked earlier about what love means. So love means, as he said, to both be able to give and to receive. But meaningful love is not just about the moment. It's not just about saying, because I feel this way right now, therefore I'm willing to say whatever you want right now, and if I stop feeling this way, then nothing I say has any meaning whatsoever. Real love, halakha declares, is the willingness to determine your life path on the basis of how you feel right now. I feel so strongly right now that I am making commitments that will bind the way I live my life from now on. And so halakha requires that the love relationship of marriage be embedded in the contract, so the chatan and kala say not just this is what we feel about each other right now, but we feel about each other so strongly right now that we are willing to fix the path of our lives together forever. We are willing to impose obligations on us right now, even if at some point we don't feel exactly the same way about it. Now, you shouldn't feel exactly the same way, truthfully. You should feel deeper and more mature all the time in your love for each other. Now, the way in which both these ideas are embodied nowadays as best, right? They're classically embodied in the ketubah, which is a contractual relationship in which the chatan obligates himself forever down to the shirt on his back, possibly including the jacket as well. Probably the jacket is included in the shirt. But the way in which this is most embodied nowadays is in the signing of the RCA Prenuptial agreement, and I want to take a moment for that. Many of you are aware that there has been a stain on the reputation of halakha for the past really 100 years, which is that owing to the failure of halakha to have coercive jurisdiction over the Jewish people, there are situations in which divorce can be used as a weapon, as opposed to as a ritual. Now, of course, every chatan and kala, and being familiar with and extremely fond of both the chatan and kala, I will testify this. Both of them have personal knowledge. Has no thought of that whatsoever. But what is critical is, since somewhere out there is a chatan and kala who should be thinking who do think this way, that we make the signing of the prenuptial agreement absolutely standard, so that it never becomes a question whether this is signed or not. My wife is fond of saying, "Friends don't let friends get married with halachic prenups." Now, the signing of the halachic prenup should be understood, and I'm extremely proud of Shaul and Sara Libby both for signing without question, for understanding it was a given, and for asking me to speak about this so that we can move towards making this an absolute given at all halachic ceremonies. Understand that it is necessary that their signing is an act of giving to the community. It's an act by which they enable us to create the communal standard which will eliminate this scourge from the reputation of halakha. And secondly, it's a wonderful expression, an ultimate expression of their love. in a way in which the contract no longer, the ketubah cannot really serve as that right now because the ketubah is not an enforceable document. It's only, right nowadays, the ketubah is a symbol of the willingness to concretize love and obligation, but the prenup makes it real. And it says we love each other so much that we embody our love in concrete obligations. So I want to take this moment, first of all, to thank Shaul and Sara Libby for their willingness to help lead Klal Yisrael and halacha towards a better future. And secondly, the bracha that I give them is that the depth of love which they're showing in this should indeed carry them through, so they should feel this way and deeper and more mature and more fulfilling in their love throughout their lives. And be as go.